So today's talk is all about how to SEO your Jottful website. And I want to thank everybody so much for attending. This is really the first time that we're doing a customer success webinar like this. So I hope you get a ton of value out of it. I think there's a lot of information in here and a lot of things that are going to help you grow your business with your Jottful website. So let's get started. There's a ton of content and just chat in if you have questions. So the first thing you may have noticed already is that you will get lots of email from SEO vendors. And I know this because we have websites, but I also know this because we are the administrative contact for many of you if you have your domain registered through Jottful. And so we get a lot of these spam emails on your behalf. And they often read the same way. They'll say, I found your website and I found all of these problems on it. Oh my goodness, there are so many things wrong with your website. And they'll list them like broken links, page speed, blah, blah, blah. And then they say, I'll prepare a free analysis of your website for you. Here's another one, exactly the same thing. They were really worried about seeing your website. It's missing a whole bunch of things. They'll prepare you the free analysis. You're going to get these all the time. The first thing to know is that they have never even looked at your website before they sent this out. This is just spam. They're just sending it out, and they're really hoping that some people reply to it. Let's talk about some of the things that are in these websites and what's actually already on your Jottful website. So first, let's start with some SEO basics. When somebody is searching on a search engine, they are looking for an answer to their question. In fact, they're looking for the best possible answer to their question. And that's what the search engines are trying to do. The search engines, of course, exist to provide answers to questions. They don't exist to promote our businesses, unfortunately. So when somebody searches for something, for example, here, you can see that I've searched for the words easy website Ann Arbor. Those words, easy website Ann Arbor, as a phrase are called a keyword. So the keyword I'm using here is easy website Ann Arbor. And the return that I would get if I were searching for this would be on the top. Almost always you receive some ads. Those are paid, of course. With SEO, what we're really trying to do is show up at the top of what are called the organic search results, which are the stuff just below the paid ads. This is the earned stuff, the stuff you get for free, by actually providing the best answer to the question or having the most relevant content for those particular keywords. This is what search engines look for when they're trying to decide what to show as an answer. Number one, they're looking for content that is relevant. And here they're really doing a lot of matching of keywords. What did the searcher tell us they're looking for? And then what's relevant on this website? What's this website about? Are those two things similar? And if they are, we're going to return it highly in the search results. They're also looking for things that are websites that are high quality. And one of the ways they determine whether or not your website is high quality is by looking at who is linking to it. When people link to your website, that's called a backlink. You want to have both a lot of quantity of backlinks as well as a lot of quality of backlinks. So for example, Google will think that your website is more credible if you have a backlink from the New York Times than if you have a backlink from sort of my cousin's blog, right? Just on a level, like obviously the New York Times is a higher, more credibility, or as what's known as higher domain authority than my cousin's blog. No cousin in particular in mind here, just in case I have any cousins on the call today. Thirdly, you want to make sure that the content on your website is up to date. Google and all the other search engines want to know that whatever results they're returning are current, that they're updated, that somebody's keeping an eye on them, that they're still accurate. And so having fresh content is another way to make sure that your website shows up higher in search results. So there are really three kinds of things, like three buckets of stuff that you need to optimize. And I'm going to break down the rest of the talk today into these three buckets. The first is technical stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you what this stuff is, but you can also just kind of kick back, because the truth is the technical stuff Jottful already takes care of for you. But I'll still tell you what it is. The second group of stuff is stuff on your website. Now here, Jottful has made it possible for you to optimize for this, but we can't optimize for you. You actually have to go in and do it yourself, and you're gonna understand why once you see sort of the consultation that goes into that. But I'm going to talk about the on-page or on-site stuff. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk about the off-site stuff. So again, these are the backlinks, right? All of the other websites that you get linking into you. I'll talk briefly about it. Obviously, that's not really related to Jottful. It's, you know, whatever you can do to sort of hustle and get people to link to your website. But I have some ideas for you that I'm happy to share today. All right, so the first bucket of stuff is all the technical stuff. So again, this is the stuff that your Jottful website has built in. We like to say that your Jottful website is SEO ready. First of all, it's secure. So search engines want to send traffic to pages that they know are secure, meaning they have a security certificate. Technically, this is called a TLS certificate, but most people still know of it by its old term, which is SSL certificate. If you are a Jottful customer, you have this security certificate. We get it for you, and we actually renew it for you every single year, so you never even have to think about it. It's just part of your monthly service with Jottful. So that's taken care of. Search engines like to send visitors to websites that are mobile responsive. Mobile responsive means that the website changes structure based on the device it's on. So whether it's on a very small smartphone screen, kind of a medium-sized tablet, or even a very large desktop monitor, the website can adapt automatically to that. Obviously, they do that because they want people to have a good experience when they arrive at the website. It's also the case, and something I don't have here on the slide, that they also want to make sure that that website is speedy. We do constantly check page load speeds. We do things technically on the back end to try and make your website load faster. Now, there are only so many things we can do because some of it is based on the images that you use, how many images and how big those images are. But we do quite a bit on the back end to try and make your page load as quickly as possible because the search engines like fast page load speeds as well. Next, and this may surprise many of you or all of you, your Jottful website includes an automatically generated sitemap. And you can find that at any time just by going to your domain. You can see here I have domain.com as an example, and typing /sitemap.xml. That will pull up a list of all the pages on your website. The way search engines find your website is they go out with what are called spiders and do crawling. So they will go to your sitemap, they'll walk all over that sitemap and find out what are all the pages on your website, when were they last updated? Oh, it's been updated since I last visited this website. Well, let me go back to that page and read it again and see what's on that page. The search engines actually create an index of everything on the internet, and then that's how they very quickly know where to send traffic to. That's also why when you're first starting out, when you first launch your website, it's really going to take you a while to start to show up in search results because it's going to take a while for all those crawlers to find you. And finally, the search engines want to know that your page is structured properly. And because you're using Jottful, it is, meaning that it has metadata, heading tags, and schema that search engines are able to read easily. And I'm going to talk about each of those now so you understand what they are. The first thing I want to talk about is heading tags. So remember when you wrote essays in high school and your teacher would have you write a headline and then create a subtitle for it, and you would kind of create this outline before you actually started doing any writing? Well, search engines understand pages the same way. In fact, when they look at pages, they want to know what are the major headlines. These are called H1 tags. And then what are the subtitles? These are called H2 tags. If you were to build your own website by scratch, you might build these things in, but you might not know how technically on the back end to tell it, this is an H1 heading tag, this is an H2 subtitle tag. Your Jottful website has this built in. So H1 and H2 tags are just consistent across the board on your website so that search engines, when they look at the page, know how to read it and know what's most important. You want to put important keywords in, for example, the H1 tags, and then maybe next level down H2 tags. And I'll talk about that when I talk a little bit more about how you want to use keywords on your site. Next, This is something that's a little bit newer, but Google, Microsoft, which owns Bing, Yahoo, and Yandex, all got together in a consortium called schema.org. And they said, look, there's a bunch of information that's the same across all websites on the entire internet. Let's all agree on the language we use to understand that information, so it's easier for people who create websites like all of you to tell us what the different things are. So for example, they have a tag for street address so that all the search engines know, oh, when I see this tag, I know this is a street address. They have the same thing for city, for state, for zip code. They have it for hours of operation. So when they see a batch of text like you see here in the lower right-hand corner, they think, oh, those are the hours of operation. And when they're publishing hours of operation, they know to pull that out. Your Jottful website includes this standard for these things, for your address information, your hours of operation, as well as your logo. We tell the search engines, these things are here. This is very unusual because we're able to do it at Jottful because there's some standardization across all of our websites. And so you're able to get this schema out of the box. In other words, your schema markup is built in when you have Jottful. All right. Now I'm going to talk about the things on site, all that on site stuff, the things that we have prepared for you. And now you can really take the next step and use these things to optimize your website for search engines. So the first one I mentioned earlier, that keywords are the individual words, collections of words, phrases that users will type into search engines to find answers to their questions. And the example that we have here, of course, is easy website Ann Arbor. You want to make sure that if you know people are searching on specific keywords, key terms, that you're using those words in your metadata. The metadata is the stuff that shows up in search results. So you can see what shows up here at the sorry, these are the keywords here, right? Somebody types in easy website Ann Arbor, the search engine returns, okay, this is probably a good page for easy website Ann Arbor, because I can see that in the headline, they have the word easiest website in Ann Arbor. And in the page description, they have website Ann Arbor, easy, and Ann Arbor again, right? That's an indication to the search engine, this is probably a really relevant page to give them. They get this information from your metadata. Your metadata, and I'm going to show you how to access that on your Jottful website, includes the page title, which is what you see here, as well as the page description. Now, if you have not already updated the metadata on your Jottful website, don't worry, search engines still have this. What they do is they take our default page title, which is the same as the name of the link. So for example, if you have a page called About Us, and the name of your company is Acme, your page title here is going to be Acme About Us, I believe is how it's written. The page for the description, the search engine takes the first couple of sentences on your website. So it's not like it shows up blank. However, you could really optimize this to make sure that what's showing up is exactly what you want people to see on search engines and exactly what you want people to find on search engines. And I'm going to show you when I do the demo how you can do that in your website. Something that you might hear if you get one of those spam emails from one of those SEO vendors is they'll say, well, there are no meta keywords. It used to be that in addition to the page title and the page description, on each page you would provide this metadata of keywords. And the search engines really stopped using those because people who have websites started stuffing a bunch of keywords in there. You've probably seen that before, where it's just like a whole string of a whole bunch of keywords. They're just hoping to show up in search engine results. And the search engines got wise to that and said, okay, this keyword stuffing is not going to work. So they don't really use meta keywords anymore. But a lot of times those SEO vendors who send you the spam emails will tell you that you need to have these. And that's maybe because they aren't familiar with what is the current standard, or maybe because they're trying to trick you. So heads up on that. All right, you also want to use those focus keywords in your headings and your subtitles. So again, these are the H1 tags and the H2 tags. On your Jottful website, you have H1 tags or headings. And if you have a big hero image like this, the big words across the hero image, that's the H1 tag. Or if you have an article like this, you can see they often also have headlines. H2 headlines or H2 headings are the things that you see as subtitles. So on a hero image, this is an example of a subtitle or H2 tag, and the subtitles in articles are also H2 tags. If you have focus keywords that you want to make sure you're including on the page, you might create a series of subtitles, for example, so that you can get those keywords repeated on that page so search engines can really understand that that's what your page is about. And those are the kinds of results they should be, this is the kind of page for which they should be returning those results. You can also add your focus keywords in descriptions for your image. So for example, if somebody is, their browser is unable to load the image, you will often see it load just a little phrase instead, which lets you know what that image is about. For example, this image, I think it has an image description of something like Happy Hills Farm owners, James and Ella. You can also use those focus keywords in your body text. So here it is again, Happy Hills Farm, James and his wife Ella, James and Ella. If people are searching for Happy Hills James, this might be a page that shows up because we've included that in the alt tag on the image, in the image description, as well as also in the body text. And again, I'll show you how to do that in the demo. The next thing I want to talk about is blogging. Remember when I said earlier that search engines really want to make sure that this is a website that's up to date, right? This is a current website. It's accurate. It's being kept up to date. Blogging is one way to help the search engines understand that because it's going to constantly change the last updated indicator on your sitemap. But blogging is also an excellent way to create more opportunities for focus keywords. And I'll show you how we've done this when I show you the demo. But each blog post from a search engine's perspective is another page. So every single page in your blog isn't just another opportunity for you to use different focus keywords and really drive more traffic to your website. Now, blogging on Jottful is not available on our Let's Go plan, but is available on our Grow and our Pro plans. So if you're not already blogging today, first of all, make sure you have a plan that has blogging included. And if it doesn't, if you want to upgrade, you can either upgrade through your billing management portal, or you can just contact us and upgrade. And once you have that all set, then just ask us to add a blog page for you. We'll add the one page, the blog page, and then you can start creating your posts. All right, as a reminder, if you have questions, just throw them in the chat and I'll start to get to them, especially as we're going through the demo. I imagine there are going to be a lot of questions. Okay, so there are really the things we need to do and the different ways to do them. In the category of things we need to do, the first thing is keyword research and strategy. And this is why I say that while Jottful can make your website SEO friendly, we can't actually do the optimization for you because somebody needs to figure out what should the focus keywords be and on what pages should we include those focus keywords. And this is a whole strategic effort that we at Jottful, that's like a whole different subject. But we do have lots of people in Jottful community who are SEO professionals who could help you with keyword research and strategy. But it's really all about figuring out what kinds of things do people search for? What is your value proposition? How are you different from your competition? How is your competition rating for different things? Where are there, keywords that are maybe a little bit less popular, but that you could start to rank for really highly? Like there's some real strategy that goes into choosing those. So that's the first thing, the keyword research and strategy, figuring out what you're going to do. The second thing is once you have that, actually making those changes on your Jottful website. So adding those keywords into your titles, your descriptions, and throughout the page. And then thirdly, which is optional, is blogging. And again, blogging is super, super good for SEO. I highly recommend it if search engine optimization is really important for your business. But blogging would be the third thing. In terms of ways to do it, you could do this yourself. And in fact, I'm going to show you how to edit your website to do that part yourself. It's just a question of whether or not you can and you want to do the keyword research and strategy yourself. Or you can hire an SEO professional. And again, in Jottful community, you probably know we have more than 1,200 creative professionals all across the country, and many of them specialize in SEO, SEO analyses, or writing content specifically tailored for search engines. So we can help make those connections for you if you need them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you a demo. All right, can everyone see Happy Hills Farm? Good, good. Great. All right, so Happy Hills Farm is the demo I'm going to show you. This is just a fake demo site, but the first thing I'm going to do is log in. I'm going to move this down because you all know how to log in using /edit. All right, great. So once you're logged in, the first thing I want to show you, move the chat down a little bit so I can see here. All right, the first thing I want to show you is that if you haven't noticed it yet, you have this little help button in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on help and you type in something like SEO, you're going to see, for example, how you can edit those image alt descriptions, what you can edit on your website, how you can edit the metadata. If you forget what we're going through in the demo today, you can always type in SEO in the corner there and actually pull that information back up. So again, that's right here under the help. The next thing I want to show you is that you can have multiple users on your website. That way you don't have to share your password. If, for example, you were to hire an SEO professional and you want to give them access to the back end of your website so they could make the changes for you, if that's what you want to do, you can always go over here to users and you can add them as a new user. You just add their email address, tick them off as SEO, click assign user, and then they are added to your website so they can make those changes for you. All right, metadata. So every single page has its own metadata, and you'll find it down here in the published bar. Under more page options, you'll see edit page SEO. This is where you can add the override. You can see that we display here the page title that we are using by default, which is Happy Hills Farm on this particular page. You can override this by typing in something else. Whatever you type in there is now what all the search engines will use for this page. If, for example, you are a local business, you probably want to reference where you're from in the page title, as well as the name of your organization, as well as what it is that you do. So an example might be Acme Insurance, short-term disability insurance. So you're specializing in short-term disability insurance, and then, you know, Tecumseh, Michigan, or whatever it is. But those are the kinds of things you might include in your page title, because again, those might be focused keywords for your homepage in particular. And then page description is where, again, you describe a bit about your page and you want to include those focus keywords. We don't have a page description in here by default. What that means is that the search engines just pull the first couple of sentences off of the website. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to override that with your own page description that's written specifically for the keywords that are relevant for your website. So that's how you edit the page metadata. Now let's go to, let me go in here to our story page. You can also, as I mentioned, edit your heading tags, which is here. You already know how to do that, as well as your H2, which is here. You might not know how to do that in an article. If you want to add a subtitle like this in an article, you could just hit return and click the word subtitle. And then now you have a new subtitle. And the search engines will recognize this as an H2 heading. And so the keywords that you have in here, like subtitle or new, are keywords that Google will recognize as relevant to your particular page. Let's erase that because we don't want an ugly demo. You can edit your images by rolling over any image, and in the same place where you see the normal edit image options, You also might have noticed something called edit description. When you edit the description, you can add alt text, and you can see I've added alt text here already. I said, hey, for this page, the focus keywords will be Happy Hills Farm and Ella and James, because these are the owners of the farms. So what I've done here is describe this image using those focus keywords: Happy Hills Farm owners, Ella and James. That's who you see in the picture. All right, let me show you the blog page. So this, if you don't have a Jottful blog, this is what a blog looks like when you have some content in it. This create no post button only appears because we're on the back end of the website. We're in the Jottful editor right now. When you create a new post, you have the option to build this from scratch, but I want to show you what it's like when you're working from a post that already exists. So this post is titled Perfect Spring Peas and Beet Salad. And so I made the assumption here that spring peas and beets are products that Happy Hills Farm grows. And we want to make sure that search engines know that this is a page that this blog post is a page that they should show when people search for things like spring peas and beets. So I've made sure to include those words, you know, down here in the body copy. Here's spring peas and then the word beets. But you can also add it up here. You could add something like popular beet recipes, you know, something like that, right? And then it continues to show up as keywords in your subtitles. So that's it. Again, it's really about on every single page, making sure that you're baking those keywords into the page metadata, on the page, in all of the headlines, and also in the image alt tags on the page, as well as that you're blogging. All right, I'm going to present again here. All right, if you outsource to an SEO professional, I just want to give you a little bit more information. First of all, as you notice, you can give them access to the Jottful editor for your website. So some of them will just do the analysis and tell you what focus keywords you should put on each page, and then you go and do that work. Some of them will do that work for you. You just want to sort of decide how you want to spend your money and, you know, how you want to spend your time. But you can, again, go ahead and give them access to the editor if you like. If you work with an SEO professional, they probably want to add some tracking tags to your website. Most likely they're going to want to use Google Analytics, which is going to give them really in-depth information and analytics about your website. Google Analytics can be really challenging to use if you're not in there using it all the time, but of course SEO professionals are. We can just take a tracking ID from them. Same thing with Google Tag Manager. We can just take a container ID. If they have any other header, heading or embed code they want added into the header or the body, we can go ahead and take care of that too. We can also add a schema.org type for the entire website. I'm not going to explain what that is, but if you have an SEO person, you can share this with them later and then they'll know, okay, we can give them a schema.org type. All right, the last bucket of stuff you need to think about. So we did technical stuff, which I said you don't need to worry about. On-site stuff, which I said Jottful's made it already. We have all the blanks in there and it's your responsibility to fill in those blanks. And then lastly, the offsite stuff. So this is the stuff that happens outside of your Jottful website, but that I wanted to share with you anyway, because it's really, really, really helpful for your SEO. The most important thing is you want to build backlinks to your website. So again, you want websites linking to you, and preferably websites that have a lot of page authority, meaning websites that, or domain authority, meaning websites that search engines find to be high quality. So these, for example, are news articles. When you get press coverage, if whoever the journalist is links back to your website, that's very favorable. You can write an article for another company's blog. Obviously, you want to ask them first, but you might say, hey, I'm working on an article about this particular topic. I thought that your audience might be interested in it. Would you be willing to publish it on your blog? And oftentimes they'll say yes, because you know it's great to get content written by other people. Just make sure that they're linking back to your website. And then lastly, you can get your website listed on directories. So this might be things like Yelp or the Chamber of Commerce, or I think it's yp.com is the online yellow pages, Nextdoor, Alignable, all these sites that you're probably familiar with. When you create profiles there, as well as on all the social media channels, you want to link those back to your website, because those are all counted as backlinks to your website. In addition to that, there are industry specific directories, and I have a link here which I'll share again after the presentation. When you get this deck, you'll have it, but this is to Bright Local, and they list all different types of directories by industry. So if you're in the bridal industry, you probably want to be on Wedding Wire, that kind of thing. So that's a really good resource just to get secure some of those backlinks. All right. This is the first presentation that we're doing from a customer success perspective, but we're going to be doing another one soonish, all on how to optimize your Google My Business profile. Google, as you know, is the most popular search engine out there. If somebody is searching for your business name, it's probably pulling up this big section you see here on the right-hand side of the screen. This is what shows up for Jottful. You can customize that, and you should. And you should really optimize it for your business. So we're going to do a whole separate section on how to optimize your Google My Business profile, because it's so important for your SEO, even though it doesn't seem like it's directly related. What if I forget everything that Dawn just talked about today? Well, number one, we are recording this, so there will be a video replay, and we'll be sharing that with you sometime in the next couple of days after the event. Also, remember that when you're in the Jottful editor, you can always go up to the help button. You could type in SEO and it will pull up some information. We're constantly adding more new articles there. And if you have a question that's beyond the scope or outside the scope of what we have in one of those articles, you can actually use that tool to send us the question and we can answer it for you. It creates a ticket. All right, before we go to Q&A, we have more stuff to help you grow your business. If you're not already signed up for Monday Morning Marketing, do so. You can sign up at jottful.com/MMM. This is an email that we send out every Monday morning, unless I'm like sick or something, but it comes out every Monday generally. And it is usually 5 quick tips to help you grow your business through marketing. So I highly recommend this. It's just a great thing to get on Monday mornings, and you can determine if there's anything you want to apply that week. They're very actionable, very practical kinds of tips. And then if you have a little bit more time, Monday Marketing Made Easy by Jottful is our podcast series. And we publish these episodes every month or so. We just published our 7th episode, and it was all about public relations and how even very small businesses can get press coverage and what to do, how to get that, and then what to do once you get it. So really, really useful. It's a podcast. Episodes run like 30 to 40 minutes. So if you have a little bit of time and you're going on a walk, it's the perfect thing to listen to really sort of inspire you with your marketing.